Imagine if the iconic image of the Hollywood sign were replaced by this to symbolize U.S. movie making. It may never go quite that far, but if one local group has its way, it will soon move a step closer.
St. Louis Filmworks is really an economic initiative to grow the infrastructure and the ecosystem for the entertainment and media industry. We are a 501c3 that is really focused on our mission is to become a go-to hub for emerging storytellers.
St. Louis Filmworks plans to do that by taking a page from the economic development game plan used by the St. Louis technology sector.
Or you can't have Google come in and say, you know, we're going to open up an office and hire 1,500 people. That's not going to happen because St. Louis does not have the talent or the resources there. So in order to bridge that gap, they started something like Arch Grants to give away $50,000 grants to attract companies. And they begin to build a grassroots ecosystem. Now, eventually, 20 years later, that's gotten to the point of where now Square is hiring 1,500 people, and Accenture's coming in and bringing 1,400 people. But we had to get to that point. So with St. Louis Filmworks is what we're doing is we're offering grants to bring in storytellers to build up the crew, the experience, and so forth, to get to that point where now we can compete.
A lot of people don't understand the enormity and the economic impact of this industry and the fact that it is a $2.1 trillion industry. In production alone, you're pushing almost $50 billion. It employs a vast amount of people in 34 different industries per production. So when you start thinking about production, a lot of people think about the directors and the writers and the stars and stuff, and they'll think of the production side, but they don't really realize all the ancillary businesses that are impacted from this, starting from dry cleaners and rental houses and printing companies and car rentals, hospitality. So you have such an enormous impact when you're building an infrastructure here. What the amazing thing is about St. Louis is that we have an enormous amount of talent here. The cool thing about St. Louis is that we can also morph into almost any look and feel in the nation and era and stuff. So that's a really cool thing about that. It's cheaper to film here. The accessibility here is terrific, right? And what you have to spend in order to shoot in LA or some of these other areas is much more expensive.
So like when Up in the Air was shot here, you know, the premise of that movie is that George Clooney was going around from city to city to city, you know, basically firing people. Most of that was shot in St. Louis. So St. Louis was a body double, if you will, for Detroit or Philadelphia or Dallas, you know, because it has so many looks. And one of the scenes, I think his girlfriend lived in Chicago, well, that was actually shot in Lafayette Square.
Our overall initiative, our 10-15-year initiative, focused on creating that new narrative and that window into our world, making sure that we have great grants available to draw on those emerging storytellers, have an accelerator program that gives them the resources that they need in order to survive and thrive in the industry, and then the infrastructure. Then it's the campus part, and it's having that studio hub.
And those efforts already seem to be paying dividends.
We'd like to basically build out our headquarters here in St. Louis. Like I said, I'm from here. Some of my staff are from here, but they live throughout the country. So we have people based in Miami and Chicago and other parts of the country, as well as my production president is also based in Los Angeles as well. So we feel that we would have to have a footprint there, but we feel that this could be home base, and that's where we want to be. We need to position ourselves somewhere where we can lead the way. We can be part of a team that leads the way. And that's what we feel like we're part of. We feel like we're associated with SLFW because they're leading the way. You know, they're not one of many in Atlanta. They're not one of many in New Mexico, and they're not one of many in Oklahoma or Canada, as an example. But they're one of one in Missouri and in St. Louis.
Ideally, what we want to do is offer 3 grants per year. We have $250,000, that's $750,000 a year to do 3 films over the course of 5 years. So hopefully in 5 years we'll be able to produce 15 features with a goal to get 9 to 12 of them in distribution. And that would be like Netflix, Hulu, or Amazon Prime.
Any money that we are granting to the filmmaker, the emerging storyteller coming here to start their career and find their portfolio pieces, is that it's a line of credit that has to be utilized to be spent in our ecosystem, meaning anything that can be purchased here or rented here, and services and crew and members, they need to hire them here. So it organically pumps money back into our infrastructure to add sustainability.
I would love to have film students around the country, maybe even around the world, when they talk about their projects, someone said like, hey, you know what, have you looked into St. Louis? You know what St. Louis is doing? You know, you got to check out St. Louis. And therefore, it's like every emerging storyteller, every film student will be looking at what St. Louis Filmworks going like, I want to do that.